I love Ninja Sex Party. I've been following them since they uploaded Dinosaur Laser Fight, and seeing their progression as artists has been really interesting. Because the way I see it, Ninja Sex Party has gone from a joke band to true and blue rock stars. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, their early work was fairly unambitious. Not to insult them too hard, but their early videos and songs had pretty simple instrumentation and simple comedic premises. Now, not to say that they weren't funny back then, because they were, but the problem was that was all they were. Funny. Their music was simple and effective, but lacked depth, both sonically and thematically. If you look at something like Objects of Desire, you can see the simplicity in their older content. While the concept of a dude fucking everything in a house is a objectively funny idea, its execution was what limited it to being a funny but ultimately average song. Their music videos were intentionally amateurish. Even though that the idea was intentional, it was a limiting concept. Their sound was also super limited due to there only being 2 members. So what changed? Well, it's hard to mark when the theming and writing changed, but it's much easier to tell when they improved sonically. It was when they introduced TWRP to the group. TWRP added a level of mixing and mastering to the band that allowed their sound to be more than just a pale imitation of 80s songs. The switch over to TWRP allowed them to have a richer sound that exceeds and captures the feeling that those 80s songs had. By teaming up with TWRP, their sound went from a thin, serviceable backer to the vocals to an equal component of NSP's sound. While I'm on the subject of TWRP, let's talk about their costumes and how they match in with Brian and Danny's costumes. If there was a theme to all their costumes, it would be tacky. But I think that's intentional. The group together looks like a set of action figures you would get cheap from a store in the 80s. Cheap commercialism was a huge component of 80s and 80s pop culture. It was a time where cartoons were designed to sell toys, and commercials were plastered all over the airwaves. A lot of these toys were made very opportunistically. If they had a mold they could use, they would use it. That's why so many old toy lines seem to have little to no theme. NSP and TWRP use this to their advantage by giving each member a totally unique design to the others, but having no coherent theme amongst them. They fit in together design-wise because they don't fit in. I also want to point out how the boost in quality can also be seen in their videos. Their videos went from rinky-dink and poor-looking messes to fully produced and choreographed beauties. Now, to be fair, those old videos look the way they do because of their limitations, but their standard of quality is much higher than it used to be. This can especially be seen in videos like Cool Patrol. Now, we talked about how their sound and videos have improved drastically, but I want to talk about what I consider their most important song. The culmination of all of these improvements on top of their improvement in writing. Danny, Don't You Know. Danny, Don't You Know embodies what I think is at the core of Ninja Sex Party. The song has an interesting look at Danny's career through a comedic lens. The song focuses on young Danny's dreams of being a rock star like those in the glam rock era, and in a way he has succeeded at it, but in his own way. In the song, Danny knows that inside he is the same nervous kid that he was, but that doesn't mean he wasn't built to be a rock star. While he doesn't have the hard edge and masculinity of the glam rockers of the past, he substitutes that for a sense of humor and sincerity. And I think that word is at the core of Ninja Sex Party. Sincerity. He makes what he makes because he has a sincere love for glam rock, comedy, and the 80s. The 80s were a time filled with commercialism and cheap, bad shit, but NSP turns that back around by using elements of artificiality that were common in the 80s and twists them and uses them to portray earnest and true love for the time. Danny Don't You Know isn't just a song about how awkward Danny was as a kid. It's a power anthem, letting you know that even though you feel left out for who you are, you can succeed at whatever you try. You don't have to be a super masculine young rocker to succeed. It doesn't matter if you're a skinny 35-year-old weirdo who cries too much. All you have to do is be yourself in the best way possible. All aspects of their presentation both work as a parody and as a tribute to a bygone era. Danny Don't You Know is a reminder to all of us that the future is always brighter and more unique than we could ever imagine. Ninja Sex Party went from a two-man band to a group of rockers that can hang with Def Leppard. And Def Leppard is fucking dope. And they did all that just by being their goofy selves. Ninja Sex Party is a perfect mix between heartfelt earnestness and snide comedy. Danny would have never became a rock star if he just copied the rock legends that came before him. I mean, that should be obvious from every single failed cover band. But by carving out his own sincere and real identity, he found his own success. In life, it can feel like we're getting nowhere and that our inspirations are so far ahead, even though they feel the same insecurities you do, since everybody feels weird on the inside. But it's hard to see those faults, so we worry about our own inability. But in actuality, inside we all have the tools to build the future we want. Because inside, we're hard as fuck. NSP is a culmination of years of hard work and passion, and to see it go from an elaborate joke to a full-fledged rock band has been amazing. Danny's story is an incredibly powerful one, and he shares it through his love for his craft, in the same way that rock legends that came before him did. Danny is a modern version of the hair metal stars of the past. By combining a sense of self-awareness with an unmatched charisma, he shows the world that being a rock star is what we make it. He shows us that we don't have to follow the molds of those who came before us, but we can create what we want. He is the modern age rock star. That's why I love their projects like Under the Covers of Starlight Brigade. These projects show how powerful and great they are as rock and roll icons. If you're ever having a hard time or you feel like you're getting nowhere, remember that with hard work, time, patience, and sincerity, you'll get to where you need to be. Danny spent years as a useless bum stoner who was broke, but through his love of what he did, he found his own way to success. There was going to be a point where NSP was going to be a cancelled project due to lack of funds, but through his connections and friends, he was able to make it through and make NSP the success it is today. As a content creator, his story inspires me and shows me that there's always higher to go, even if you just make goofy songs about fucking furniture. His stories show me that even I could become a rock star, in my own way, of course, before I've even realized what happened. Never feel that you have to be anyone else to succeed, and don't worry about how you stack up to others, because if you do what only you can do, you'll succeed. I think Ninja Sex Party has marked themselves out as one of the greatest rock legends of the 2010s. I mean, there's not a lot of competition, but I think they've made it. Do what you do because you love it. Because remember, we're all rad as fuck on the inside. And everybody knows that the best bananas are ripe with time. So get out there and do what you love. Welcome to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, consider liking and subscribing. Shout out to my editor, Saber. He's the one who does the hard part. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a nice day, and see you later. Peace.